All right, cool people, here we go. Cell organelles. Okay, this is our first time sort of, you know, doing like some science out here, okay? Many of you probably recognize the voice from math. We've done a ton of math videos, but I know many of you have been in trying to get on top of this cell stuff. And science is one of those subjects you really need in life. So it's super important to me personally that you understand this, and I am pretty darn good at explaining it. If you thought I was good at math, I'm about 10 times better at science than I am math. So we are going to have a good time with this, okay? We're going to use lots of pictures. I'm going to give you some review at the end. But for now, hold on to your seatbelt and let's do it, okay? All right, so let's start off with what cells are. Okay, let's start off with what cells are. Let's go to Google. Oh, yes. Well, that would be... This is not what we need to be in. Here we go. Okay. You did not see that. We did not need to be in the, well, I mean, it was nothing but math videos, but still. All right, so let's look it up. Cells. 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 Okay? Cells. Like cell types. All right? So let's have a look at this. What are cells? Okay? Cells are what you are made of. Okay? Cells are what you are made of. Everything on you is made of cells. All right? We got bone. Hey. Pictures, hello. We got bone cells. Okay, we got skin cells. Let's have a look at skin cells. Let's have a look at skin cells. Let's get rid of these drawings. Skin cells. Skin cells, okay? Flat, these flat things. Skin cells. Flat, okay? Look at this. Skin cells. Wow. Okay? Skin cells. Okay? Now, it turns out there's many different types of skin cells. Look at this. Skin cells. Okay? This looks like you can see the individual cells, but even this that you're looking at are not the individual cells. Cells are so small, you need a microscope to see them. You cannot see them with your plain eye. Look at this. Even these little bitty squares you think you see are still not, you're still not seeing individual cells. You're seeing thousands of cells even this close. They just clump together to make that sort of rectangle, kind of strange triangle, square looking shape, okay? Cells. Wow. All right, more cells. Okay, skin cells. All right, look at this. Skin cells, flat things. Okay, this is what covers your skin. Let's have a look at brain cells, because the only reason you can hear me right now and even understand what I'm saying is because you have cells in your brain that are taking the signals from your ears and telling you what it supposedly sounds like. Listen to this. Brain cells, look at that. Brain cells. Wow. Brain cells. Okay? Big old collection of these, what are called neurons. Alright? Look at these bad boys. Wow. Brain cells. Look at that. There's a cool one. Brain cells. Jeez Louise, look at that. Brain cells. Okay? Neurons. Brain cells. Alright? Your body is made up of all these different types of cells. Let's look at one more. Let's think about blood. Even the blood that's pumping through your veins right now. Blood cells. Okay? Alright, boom. Blood cells. Blood cells. Blood cells. Carrying oxygen throughout your whole body. Okay? Blood cells. Now, we're not going to talk about this here. A little more advanced. But look at this. Blood cells. Wow. Wow. Okay? The point I'm hoping you take away from this is that although we're going to be looking at a diagram of like a cell and blah, 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 cells come in all shapes and sizes because they do different things. The cells in your brain look very different from the cells in your blood, which look very different from the cells that are in, that make up your, trying to get to the skin. Oh, we looked at a lot of brain cells, y'all. They look very different from your skin cells, okay? All right, even the cells, let's look at one more. Look at the cells in your stomach. Stomach cells, okay? Let's look at stomach cells. Wow, that looks weird. Wow, okay? Stomach cells, let's hear, let me call it by its proper name, okay? There's a couple of these. Let's look at parietal cells. Parietal cells, okay? Cells, okay? These are in your stomach, okay? Parietal cells, okay? All right? All shapes and sizes. Look at this thing. It looks weird. Look at that. Compare that with our skin cells. Jeez Louise, these look nothing the same. And that's the point I want you to take away, is that even though we are going to be drawing different types of cells and looking at all that, blah, 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 there are many different types of cells, okay? And those cells are what make you alive, okay? You need those to live. This is what every living thing is made up of, cells. Let's get the iPad back on here. iPad, hello? Okay, very good, all right? So let's have a look at a cell, all right? I'm gonna draw this shape, but you already know for our purposes that we've already looked at how many different shapes of cells there are, all right? Everything that you hear and experience is because the cell does stuff, and you want your cell to do stuff. Without your cells doing stuff, you die. In fact, that's what causes you to die. Your cells stop doing stuff, and so you die, okay? All right, so let's start with what a cell is made of, all right? What is the difference between you and your dog, or you and your friend? What is the difference between you and someone else? I mean, I know that you can see that you're separate people, but what makes you separate people? Okay? Think about it. Part of what makes you separate people is that there is space between you. You're separate people. You're in your own wrappings. Right. So the first part we're going to talk about on a cell is something called a cell membrane. It is the wrapping of a cell. It is what keeps the cell separate from other things. It's also what keeps all the stuff inside of a cell inside of the cell. It is the wrapping of the present. It is the wrapping of the gift. Let's have a look at what an actual cell membrane looks like. Let's do it. Cell membrane, 3D. Wow, look at that wrapping. Wow. Now, I don't know if I should have did 3D first, because y'all going to be like, wait, that doesn't look like a wrapping. That looks like a sandwich. Here, let's look at it like this. Wow, look at that wrapping. Wow, look at that wrapping. Wow. Okay. Another word for a cell membrane is something called a plasma membrane. That's why you see that there, but don't worry about it. Okay. This wrapping here, look at this wrapping on the outside of that cell. Okay. That is the cell membrane. Is the covering, is what keeps all this gobbledygook inside. Very important. Fun fact, the way that soap kills what you call germs is by taking this wrapping off. It literally strips the wrapping off and spills its guts everywhere. All right? Okay? So you need these wrappings. All right? Okay? I know there's an old adage where they say wash your mouth out with soap. If you do that long enough, you'll actually burn your mouth. You know why? You will strip the wrapping off of your own cells and spill their guts. That's called pain. That's called death. We don't want it, okay? We don't want it. Now, let's go back to our drawing. Let's go back to our drawing. Okay? So fine, cell membrane. It keeps all the stuff in. Keeps stuff in. And keeps it separate from other stuff. Alright? Cell membrane. So fine, we have our cell membrane to keep stuff in. But what in the world are we going to keep in? Well, let's talk about it. In order to make stuff, you got to have energy. You put gas in a car, okay? And you put food in your mouth. All right? Gas fuels a car. All right? That's what gives the car energy to move. What gives our cells, animal cells, energy to move is something called sugar. All right? In fact, the point of most of the foods you eat is to break it down into sugar. All right? Let me put an image in your head that's going to be pretty strong, but it'll work. Your cells are so desperate for sugar that they will literally burn through all the muscle in your body just trying to get to sugar. Okay? Let's have a look at what that means. Let's do muscle burning for sugar. Okay, I was going to use the actual term for it, but here, let's do this. The official word for this is called gluconeogenesis. Okay? Your body will burn through muscle trying to get to sugar. It will burn it up. Okay? Body uses carbon from fats and proteins to make sugar. And what is muscle made of? Protein. That's why they ask you to eat steaks and eat lots of protein when you're working out. Your body will burn through all that protein to get to sugar. Okay? Now, I know that previous image may have been a little strong, but the takeaway I want you to take is that sugar is required for you to live. And if you don't have it, your body will do whatever it needs to get it. All right? Let's go back to our iPad. So fine, you need sugar to live. You need this. What in the cell takes in sugar and makes energy for you? Because the motor in a car takes in gas and turns it into energy. What in your cells takes in sugar and turns it into energy? Okay? That is going to be a special part called a mitochondria. Now, that's a big word. I don't expect you to remember the whole word right now. Instead, I teach people to think of mito as like a dog, a very energetic dog chomping around. Your mitos are what take sugar and turn it into energy. Now, they do a whole lot more than that, but that's the main thing we're going to talk about today, okay? Your mitochondria take sugar and turn it to energy. Let's have a look at what mitochondria actually look like. Okay? Wow. Look at this worm-looking thing. Okay? Worm-looking thing inside your cells. Okay? Mitochondria. Taking sugar and turning it into energy. Let's have a look at what it looks like within a cell. Okay? Within a cell. Okay? Within a cell, it's this little piece right here. Okay? Usually when you look at it from the top down, it looks like a worm-looking thing. Okay? The thing you're looking for, it looks like a kidney bean and it looks like a worm's inside. Okay? Like that. Alrighty? Oh, wait. Oh, you didn't even get to see any of that. Here you go. Worm-looking thing. Okay? Alright? Sorry, y'all. You missed some of that. Okay? Worm-looking thing. Alright? Okay? Takes sugar and turns into energy. Alright? Now, Mike, you keep saying the same thing. Yes, I want it to stick in your head. Okay? Alright, great. So that's your mitochondria. Okay? They take sugar and turn it into energy. So fine, you've got your cell. It's got a wrapping on it to keep it safe. And we have a way to make energy. But why are we making energy? Why are we making energy in the first place? The same reason you can hear me right now. The whole point of cells is to make stuff. If your cells stop making stuff, you die. Okay? In fact, the way a lot of poisons work is by stopping your cells from making stuff. The whole point of cells is to make stuff. The part of your cells that make stuff is something called ribosomes. And I'm going to represent those using these little dots here. We're going to call these dots here ribosomes. Okay? Now, you don't need all these chords here because, you know, ribosomes don't have chords on them. I'm just going to use these arrows. Ribosomes make stuff. All right? The stuffs that ribosomes make, we're going to call proteins. Now, it turns out cells make more than just proteins. So, don't get too attached. But the point is that cells make stuff. They need sugar. They need the energy from sugar to make stuff. And ribosomes are the parts of a cell that make the stuff that's proteins. Let's have a look at some ribosomes. Okay? Ribosomes. Look at these dots. Ribosomes. Okay, I don't want you to look at a close-up picture. It's too much. Ribosomes. Okay? Find the little bitty dots and you found ribosomes. Here we go. Ribosomes. Okay? A lot of people show them attached to this thing. We're coming to that thing later. But that's not truly accurate as ribosomes can be anywhere, not just on endoplasmic reticulum. So let's have a look at some ribosomes that are here. Free. Because I want you to get attached to seeing them free. And then I'll show you what they look like on an ER later. Ribosomes. Okay? See these little bitty dots. Okay? Ribosomes. These Where are the dots? These little bitty dots, okay? These little bitty dots that are free out here, those are called free ribosomes because they're free. They're not attached to anything. We'll talk about them getting attached to stuff later. Ribosomes, okay? See them? They make proteins. Ribosomes are what make proteins for you. Oh, man! I didn't show you the thing again. Here you go. All right, ribosomes. See these things that are floating out here? Those are what make your proteins, okay? Very important. The part of the cell that makes stuff, that makes the protein stuff, are your ribosomes, okay? These little bitty dots out here, okay? Little bitty dots, these out right here, okay? Don't look at this big clunky thing here yet. We're not looking at that yet. Just look at these itty bitty dots. Those are proteins. Or sorry, those are ribosomes. These little bitty dots, those are ribosomes, okay? Ribosomes make proteins. All right? Let's go back to our iPad. All right? So fine. Ribosomes make proteins, okay? So we've got our cell protected by a membrane. We've got our mitochondria, which takes sugar, makes it to energy. And why are we even bothering making energy? To make proteins. All right? But how do you make something without instructions? How do you make something without a recipe? You can't make Rice Krispies unless you know how to make it. Sure, you can have the energy to make it, and sure, you can have a kitchen to make it in. Sure, you can have sugar and energy to make stuff, and sure, you can have ribosomes to make proteins with. But where do you get your instructions from? Who has all the instructions in a cell? Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you the nucleus. Okay? The nucleus is what people call the brain of the cell. I don't think that's a good way to represent it, but we can do it. It's not bad, but you know, Okay? The nucleus, really the better way to say it, is the library of the cell. It has all the instructions. It has all the instructions. Okay? Its job is to protect, keep, and give instructions. And all those instructions are held inside here, okay? We'll talk about what those instructions are at another time. We're not going to do that right now. But all of the instructions are held inside the cell. Are held inside the nucleus of the cell. Now, it turns out there are different types of cells. We're not going to talk about that today. The type of cell that I'm showing you is something called a eukaryotic cell. And eukaryotic cells have all their instructions inside of a nucleus, okay? You'll hear another name called prokaryotic cells, and prokaryotic cells carry all their instructions not in a nucleus, okay? They carry their instructions somewhere else. But for our purposes today, the only thing I want you to remember is when you run into the nucleus of a cell, it has all the instructions inside, okay? And it has all the instructions inside of something called the nucleus. All right, let's have a look at a few nuclei. Okay, here's a nucleus of a cell, this big purple thing, huge. Here's a nucleus of a cell, this big purple thing. You'll notice a darker spot in there. We'll talk about that another time. But let's have a look. Almost looks like an egg, right? Look at that. Look at that. Big shape there, nucleus. Okay, you can kind of tell because it almost looks like the headquarters of a cell. Look at that. Look at that. In fact, some of the biggest nuclei can be found in these things called eosinophils. Let's have a look. Look at this thing. Oh, I completely butchered the spelling of nucleus. Okay, nucleus. Yes. Boom. Let's have a look. Look at that weird shape. Wow. Okay, look at that weird shape. Okay, wow. Let's look at a neutrophil. Look at that weird shape. Look at that nucleus, okay? Now, normally a nucleus isn't split into two here, but this goes to show you different cells can really have different shapes, or have a lot of different shapes even of their parts. Look at this. In a monocyte, look at that big nucleus. Look at the big nucleus here on this lymphocyte. Wow. Okay, these are all different types of immune cells in your immunity system, the things that fight off disease. If you're feeling sick, it's because you're fighting this off. Okay? In fact, the reason you feel sick is because your immune system is working. If your immune system wasn't working, you would just be tired and in pain, and then you just die. The reason you feel sick is because of your immune system. Your immune system makes you calm down. It puts your behind in bed and makes you feel like crap so that it can fight. It tells you to stop using energy so it can focus on fighting. Okay? All right, so let's come off of there and let's go back to our iPad. The thing I wanted you to take away from there was the nucleus is that big part in the cell. Okay, I probably should have drawn ours bigger. Let's go ahead and draw ours a little bit bigger. And the nucleus carries all the instructions for making stuff and doing stuff in the cell. Okay, it's this big piece here. All right, let me not draw a bunch of zigzags because I told you to do that for mitochondria. So far we have this cell, the things that keep you alive, and there's a bunch of different kinds. And within this cell, we have the cell membrane that covers it. We have the mitochondria that takes sugar and turns into energy. We use that energy to make stuff, which is what our ribosomes do. And then we have our nucleus that gives the instructions on how to make it. All the instructions are inside your nucleus. So your nucleus carries the instructions to make stuff. Your ribosomes actually make the stuff. Your mitochondria provide energy to make the stuff. And your cell membrane keeps the whole thing safe while it's making stuff. Okay? I'm going to pause and stop this video here and let that be part 1. I want you just to memorize those parts so far. Okay? Let's do a quick quiz and see what you remember so far. So far inside of a cell, we have talked about the covering. What is that covering called? Okay, what is the covering of a cell? What protects it and keeps all the stuff in? Okay, hopefully you know that it is the cell membrane. Okay, great job. And if not, cool, now you know. All right, what is the part of a cell that gives instructions on stuff to make? Okay, because cells exist to make stuff. What is the part of the cell that has the instructions? So instructions to make stuff. All right, what has the instructions? All right, hopefully you said it is the nucleus. Great job. All right, now what is the part of the cell that actually makes the stuff? Okay, these little dot things, these little dots. Okay, what are the part of the cells that make stuff? Okay, and specifically makes proteins. You've heard about eating proteins. It turns out your body makes proteins too. What is the part of the cell that makes proteins? Makes stuff, makes proteins. All right, hopefully you said ribosomes. Okay, all right, great. But remember, we need energy to make stuff. We need energy to make stuff. We can't just make stuff for free. You can't just start a car without gas. What is the part of the cell that makes the energy from sugar? What part of the cell takes sugar and makes it into energy? All right? Takes sugar and turns it into energy. And hopefully you said these little bean-shaped things with squiggly lines inside called mitochondria. Okay? And remember, I was fine with you just saying mito for now. Okay? All right? So let's build a complete story. If you got that so far, great. If not, rewind it so that it's in your head good. Remember that the point, and let me just zoom out so we can look at our final point here. And that'll be it for this video. I'll do a second part to this. We'll recover the rest of the parts, okay? All right. So remember that cells make, or rather the other way to think about it is all living things are made of cells. And that cells, the whole point of them is to make stuff. To make stuff, you need energy. Mitochondria take sugar and turn it into energy. Okay? What do we do once we have that energy? Now we have energy to make stuff. Who's going to make stuff? Ribosomes. Ribosomes are going to make proteins. Okay? Using the energy from mito. But how are you going to make stuff? How do you make stuff? How do you know how to make it? Ribosomes make stuff using energy from mito from instructions given and protected by the nucleus. Because remember, the instructions come from the nucleus and is protected from the nucleus, protected in the nucleus and is held in the nucleus. This is where your instructions are. They are inside. Okay? All right. So far we know that so far we know that all living things are made of cells. Cells make stuff. To make stuff, you need energy. You're going to take sugar and turn it to energy at your mitochondria. Ribosomes are going to make proteins, which is a type of stuff, using the energy that you got from mito, and they're going to make stuff from instructions that are protected by, kept safe in, and given by the nucleus. And we're going to take all of those parts and wrap it in a cell membrane. Okay? Take all those parts and wrap it in a cell membrane. All right? Okie dokie. All right, that will do it for this first part. We're just under 30 minutes. That's pretty good. We will go over the rest of the parts, as this is not the whole picture, but this is a fundamental part of the picture that I think gives you a nice starting place. You've got a cell that's got to keep a bunch of stuff inside. Okay? It does that with the cell membrane. Your cell's job is to make stuff. Why? Because that's how you stay alive. The part of your cell that makes stuff specifically makes protein stuffs, because you can make other types of stuffs, but you're going to make protein stuffs for our purposes today. The part of the cell that does protein stuffs is ribosomes. To make stuff, you need energy. You can't just do it. You have to feel like doing it. You need energy to do it. So you're going to get energy from your mitochondria, and your mitochondria make energy from sugar. And in order to make stuff, even if you have energy, you need instructions. And those instructions are held in, protected by, and given from your nucleus. The instructions are held inside your nucleus. Your nucleus is the one that gives them out, and your nucleus is the one that protects them. Okay? That's it for today. Alrighty, if you got all of that, great job. Review this video as much as you need. Please use this video with your worksheets to kind of make it make sense. I will prepare us like a final review. I feel like I should give us some questions. Let's just do some questions real quick, like, okay? What? I'm gonna ask the same question for all these, okay? Do this review. What part of the cell makes protein stuff? Answer. Pause and answer, okay? All right? Hopefully you said ribosomes. Okay? What part of the cell keeps instructions, gives instructions, and protects instructions? Pause and answer. Okay, here comes the answer. You make sure you pause and give it a try. All right, hopefully you said the nucleus. Okay? What part of the cell makes energy to make stuff with? Give you a hint. It burns sugar to make energy. What part of the cell does that? Pause and give that a try. What part of the cell makes energy from sugar so that you can make stuff with it? Pause, because here comes the answer. Ready, set. That would be the mito. And if you remember chondria, great. But that's mito, okay? Alrighty. And what part of the cell covers the whole thing and keeps all the stuffs inside? Okay? Pause and give it a shot. Alright, here comes the answer. Hopefully you've already paused and tried. Alright, and that would be the cell membrane. Okay? Alrighty, if you got that, great job. Those are the first 4 we've talked about. Again, we will talk about more in part 2. If this was helpful, let me know in the comments. Let your teacher know. And, yeah, that's all I got for you tonight. Alrighty, peeps. Have a good night. Yeah, insert cool exit